Hello, I'm going to talk to you about VoiceThread for the submission of video assessments in the Division of Nursing, Midwifery and Social Work at the University of Manchester. My name is Jennifer Kennedy, and along with my colleagues Sam Freeman and Andrew Hall, we piloted the use of VoiceThread for video assessment and have successfully rolled it out to the whole of the division since. So my role, I am a teaching fellow and an e-learning technologist within the division, and I develop innovative e-learning solutions to enhance the student experience and also assist staff in the design and delivery of engaging and interactive teaching materials. So we have a diverse range of students from undergraduates on our B-Nurse programme to postgraduate and CPD students. Programmes can be full or part-time, face-to-face, blended or fully online. Our students range from 18, 19-year-olds coming straight from A-levels to do our B-Nurse programme, right up to those that have been working as nurses or midwives or social workers for a number of years who are returning to study. So you can see how our digital literacy and clinical experience amongst our student body varies greatly, and we have to build this in, build this fact into our assessment processes. So we decided to pilot the use of VoiceThread on one of our postgraduate units called Leadership in Professional Practice. So the students have been doing a video assessment or a vlog for a number of years as their summative assessment, where they have to talk about their leadership skills and reflect on their professional development. So you can see how this kind of assignment is much better suited to a video assessment as opposed to a written piece of work, and you can see that from the learning outcomes listed here. We want them to talk about how their leadership style has impacted and influenced others in the workplace. So why do video assessment as opposed to a written piece of work? So students developing different skills in addition to academic English, they're developing their presentation and digital literacy skills, which are becoming more and more important as graduates in the workplace. Students tend to be more invested and motivated with a video assessment when they have to put their voice and their face to it. There's more of a personal investment. Video assessment, it can be more inclusive and accessible. We have lots of international students who prefer video assessment as opposed to a written piece of work, as it allows them to express themselves a little bit better. We've also found less plagiarism than with a written piece of work, as it's not quite so easy to just copy and paste a piece of text from an external source. You have to be able to talk about what you've got on your slides. Okay, so we had a look at some research by Hawley and Allen, 2018, and paid particular attention to their summary of recommendations for the successful use of video creation for assessment. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's really important to align the video creation task to the learning outcomes and to the skills development to make it relevant for graduates when they go out and find work. You have to ensure that the technological support, resources and infrastructure are all in place. You've got to carefully manage change, for both staff and students in the transition. So it's always difficult to introduce something new, and you have to manage that carefully. And you have to involve students in the generation of clear guidance for the assessment and for the development of the rubric. So I'll talk a bit about that later. We provided students with written guidance and then asked them to evaluate this for us so that we could fine tune it for the next group of students. And then the consideration for future research. So you need to think about how this form of assessment works with individuals as well as groups. And you need to very much look at the rigor, robustness and academic equivalence across different levels of study. So we believe that we have adjusted it to suit undergraduates and postgraduates, and you can see the full reference for this for Hawley and Allen below there. We also wanted to make sure that we were satisfying a number of the JISC digital proficiency competencies, which we believe we are, particularly the digital creation, problem solving and innovation. So we've, across our programmes now, aligned these competencies to the HEA guidelines. And, I think it's important to do so. So, as I mentioned, we've been doing video assessment in the division for some time. So how were we doing it before VoiceThread came along? So there was multiple steps and systems involved, which made it quite difficult for students. So students would record their presentation in Zoom or Teams, pretty much like I am doing now. They would then have to export the MP4 file from either Zoom or Teams, which sounds straightforward, but lots of our students struggled with this. They would then have to upload this file to our video portal, very much in the same way that you upload a video to YouTube. They would quite often underestimate the time that takes to process, because it very much depends on their broadband speed, on the time of day, on the size of their file. So, we would always say to them to allow an hour, but sometimes students could miss the submission deadline purely because they weren't allowing enough processing time for the video. So you can see already there was kind of multiple points of potential failure for the students. So once their video had finished processing, they would have to copy and paste the embed code into Blackboard. Again, students could quite often go wrong at this step. They would copy and paste the link to the video rather than the embed code. They would copy the embed code into the text editor of Blackboard rather than the source code box, so we wouldn't be able to see the video. So, it was a very laborious process for them, and then they had to remember to attach a PDF copy of the slides and then basically cross their fingers that they'd managed to do all of this in the correct order before the submission deadline. So as you can imagine, this caused student and staff stress levels to go through the roof. Leading up to the submission deadline, we would be inundated with emails asking for help and support. Students quite often submitted late, and they just found the whole process to be a nightmare, which obviously wasn't what we were hoping to achieve. So we have a flexible learning team at the university, and they were offering money if you put in a bid for the money. So we put a bid in for £3,000 to do a VoiceThread pilot on the Leadership in Professional Practice unit, and being awarded this money enabled us to offer the students a financial incentive in exchange for evaluating the process for us. So we had to go before a Dragon's Den style panel and present our idea, and fortunately we were successful in being awarded the money. So that like I say allowed us to award the students for their feedback. So what is VoiceThread? VoiceThread is an interactive collaboration and sharing tool that enables staff and students to build online presentations by adding images, documents, videos, and other media to which other users can then add comments for discussion. So that's just VoiceThread's tagline, basically. So what else can you use it for apart from video assessments and vlogs? It's got lots of uses. It's a really powerful tool. So you can use it for asynchronous teaching. So it allows you to develop teaching materials, which can be used asynchronously by students. It's really good for peer review, which I'll come on to a little bit later. So students can develop a piece of work within VoiceThread, and then other students can give their comments on it. You can use it for meet the team kind of exercises. So each member of staff can record a video to introduce themselves, and that can all be hosted within one VoiceThread. And it's also very good for giving audio and video feedback to students. So if a student produces a piece of work, the member of staff can add video and audio comments on it, which the students quite like. It gives a face to the feedback. And I'm just going to play you this really short 1-minute video from VoiceThread, because I think it sums it up quite nicely and gives you a little bit of a look at it. So I'll just play that for you now.
A VoiceThread is a media player that has a highly interactive discussion space built right within it. Teachers or students upload pictures, videos, presentations, or documents into this online collection that looks and feels like a slideshow, but it's what comes next that's most important. After the media is added, teachers and students will record comments about it, presenting their work, asking questions and answering them, critiquing each other's ideas, and engaging in an ongoing conversation. The skills that students will develop using VoiceThread are exactly the skills now widely accepted as critical to successful learning, working, and frankly just plain living in the 21st century. One of the least known and most interesting facts about VoiceThread is its diversity of uses, from recording kindergartners' narrative storytelling all the way through postgraduate studies in business and medical schools. It's the very same tool used in hundreds of different ways to great effect. So after taking a look at this video, head on over to voicethread.com/research to see all the third-party research that's been conducted on VoiceThread's impact on teaching and learning.
Okay, so I thought that little video summed it up quite nicely. And as well, you saw a brief demo there of the whiteboard tool, which we've used with our students as well. So while they're talking about their slides, they can also be annotating onto them at the same time, which is a great feature that the students quite enjoy. Okay, so VoiceThread very much provided the solution to our problem. It's just one system which is integrated within Blackboard. So the students just needed to go to one place. There was no Zoom or Teams involved or video portal. They just went to Blackboard and completed the assignment in one place with a single sign-in. We provided a video tutorial, some written instructions, and a drop-in support session for students. So students would upload their slides to VoiceThread, which they'd prepared earlier, and then they would add video and audio comments to the slides. If students preferred to produce their video by a different means, they could do, because VoiceThread permits you to upload a single video file. So they had the choice. And as you can see, it's nice and easy for staff to search for submissions. They just type the student's name in to the column on the right-hand side. They can easily see who's submitted late, who's not submitted at all. So it's really easy to use for both staff and students. So as you can imagine, stress levels were down once we introduced VoiceThread. We received maybe 1 or 2 emails as opposed to the hundreds before. Students found the guidance easy to follow. The software itself is very intuitive. There was no late submissions apart from those that had applied for extensions beforehand. So yeah, we were pleased with the results. So as I mentioned earlier, VoiceThread has got other uses apart from video assessment. You can use it to give audio and video feedback to students. So staff, in addition to adding text comments, can add audio and video comments to individual slides. This audio feedback can then be transcribed for the students. And then they can also give a grade and overall feedback in the grade centre, which integrates with the standard rubric. So we've also used VoiceThread on another unit, on one of our undergraduate units, for peer review. So this unit is our palliative care unit for undergraduate nurses. So the students had to produce what we call a 2-minute elevator pitch, reflecting on a case study. So they could choose a case study and then they had to do a 2-minute reflection on it. And then they had to choose 2 students on which they were going to comment. So you can see that the student chose the Matty case study, and she's had a text comment here from Michelle about commenting on her piece of work. And then she's also had a video comment from Michaela. So you can see how it can effectively be used for peer review like that. So what are the benefits of peer review? So we found that students are much more likely to comment online than in class. Quite often in class, people were too afraid to comment on other people's work. Students learn how to give and receive positive feedback. Judgment by peers is a good motivator. If you know that your classmates are going to be looking at your work, you know, it motivates you to want to do a good job. It promotes good group cohesion. And I think that students improve by assessing each other's work. So, you know, it's helpful to see how somebody else has approached a task, and you learn and grow from that. And you can see the reference down at the bottom there that we used for peer assessment in a team-based learning context. So, as I mentioned earlier, we gave students a financial incentive to evaluate VoiceThread for us, and 70% rated VoiceThread as good or very good as a tool to produce and submit multimedia presentations. They found it intuitive, flexible, and a good functionality. The biggest advantage for students, though, was being able to come and go from it. So VoiceThread enables you to just record 1 or 2 sessions at a time, and then go back to it later. So the bad feedback. So they said it was very slow to submit a full video, but it was actually took the same amount of time as the video portal. Some people found that it changed the format of their slides when uploading from PowerPoint. Some people didn't like the fact that you have to click the next button to move through the presentation, and some students found it difficult to get the timings right. So based on this feedback, we found workarounds for these limitations. So the formatting issue, if you convert to PDF first, then it's fine. It doesn't lose any of the formatting. Some students reported that their PowerPoint animations and transitions were lost. So the way to get around that is to upload a single video file rather than uploading slides. The slow to upload, again, we found that it was no slower than the video portal. It's dependent very much on broadband speed. So for those students, we just recommended that they come onto campus if possible to do it. And the timings, I just think this was, maybe we didn't communicate this very well to the students, because the overall time could be viewed quite easily in the VoiceThread details. So that's something that we've emphasised more in the future guidance. So staff evaluation, 100% rated VoiceThread as good or very good as a tool to produce and submit multimedia presentations. Much better than the previous methods employed, but would be good to continue to develop it further to enhance the student and marker experience. So grading, this is just one drawback of VoiceThread. We found that the grading couldn't be done through VoiceThread because it sends an instant notification to the student that their work's been graded, and we couldn't find a way within Blackboard to disable this. And obviously we don't want the grades to be released immediately to the student as they need to be moderated. So we found it easier to grade in the grade centre because this meant that the rubric could also be attached and we could control when to release the marks. So that is something that we have fed back to VoiceThread to see if there is a way to delay the release of the grades and also incorporate the rubric. But it wasn't. It was more. It was a minor adjustment for staff to make and didn't in any way affect the students' experience. So what's next? As I just said, we've given feedback to VoiceThread for future developments. VoiceThread has now been rolled out to midwifery and social work within our division as well. We presented internally at the School of Health Sciences Teaching and Learning Showcase, and I was also selected to speak here at this conference. So, yeah, I think the pilot has most definitely been a success. So as this is an online presentation, obviously I can't answer any of your questions, but if you do have any questions for me, if you'd like to try VoiceThread and would like any advice, you can scan this QR code, which will launch Padlet on your mobile device, and you can ask me a question on that, and I'll check back in a couple of days and reply to any questions. Okay, thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the conference. Okay, thank you.